All right. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Kol Halal Yahweh, Ba Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba Shem Rakah Kwadash. Shalom to you sincere Akim out there listening, learning, and pushing this truth. And shalom to the few sincere Akwath that are out there listening and learning as well. With that being said, Adawan Ratazah, this will be edifying. As usual, I'm going to go into Rakah Kwadash. And this is going to be centered around the whole black fatigue. Black fatigue. You know, it's trending. And we're going to get into it. First and foremost, disclaimer, which we already know, broken records. We're not black. Okay, you Israelites as a whole, primarily, because, you know, you got Israelites that are scattered, mingled amongst the heathen. You know, you're going to have Israelites coming back looking like all the nations. You know, you're an Israelite based upon the seed of your father. The man carries the seed. So if your father is an Israelite, on your father's line is an Israelite, you're an Israelite, no matter what you look like. Jake has mingled his seed throughout the ages. But as a whole, you know, we know the stereotypical, we primarily are different shades of brown. Okay, you tribes, you so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Latinos, Hispanics, North Americans, Seminole Indians, you're primarily different shades of brown. But again, you're going to have Israelites mingled amongst the heathen. Okay? But again, we're not black. Black is a derogatory term. You can look it up for yourself. I got it on the screen. White is words have connotation, have meaning. We're not black. They're not white. They're different shades of red because they lack pigment. Esau, Edom. Okay? The so-called Caucasian. These so-called Europeans. Okay? They're not white. They're different shades of red because they lack pigment. The blood shows forth through their skin, hence the term redneck. And we're not black. We're different shades of brown. Okay? Because Adam was created from the ground, the soil, the earth. The earth, when you look it up, Google a picture of earth, rich soil. It's dark brown, different shades of brown. Okay? So just get that out of the way. You know, Salakia. But anyway, again, this whole black fatigue, you can go on YouTube, you can go on TikTok, go on social media. Black fatigue is trending, okay? That's the hot button topic that's being circulated around, all right? So I had a couple things. Sidebar, first and foremost, when I first heard about this, I could have sworn I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I had to do my due diligence. I was thinking, you know, black fatigue is what them boys wear when they come to hit a lick. You know what I'm saying? When they come to slide on you with the blicky, you know. They was going to be wearing some camos, some black camo cargo pants, a black tee, you know, some black Air Force One, some Uptowns, you know what I'm saying? Black ski mask. I thought that was black fatigue. I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about, you know. But if you don't know, do your own due diligence. You know, go do your due diligence. You probably know it already. But you know, I want to get into the precepts. Okay, you know, I'm all about the scripts. You know what I'm saying? And Sleazy E, you don't know black fatigue. Wait, you gonna have black fatigue when the Messiah returns. You really gonna have black fatigue when them chains is slapped on your ass. You really gonna have black fatigue, you know? Again, we're not black first and for this. So when you see that so-called black man crack the clouds, okay? So-called, again, so-called. That's black fatigue is Esau's worst nightmare. Him being held accountable for all the atrocities he's done in the earth. That's what's really going on. Esau, that's why he's fatigued. The truth is coming out. It's exposing this goddamn devil for the devil that he is. Okay? The great deceiver. the great Shaitan, the great adversary of the earth, the adversary of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So again, you really gonna have so-called black fatigue when Yahweh Shai Hamashiach crack the clouds, man. That's your worst nightmare, okay? That's gonna be your worst. You through. You know what I'm saying? And why are you gonna be fatigued? Because you know what that means. You're gonna be held accountable. See, Esau, Edom, they lack accountability. They lack empathy, and they lack accountability. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is gonna hold you accountable, first and foremost, for all the atrocities you've been sowing in the earth. What you sow shall you reap. You about to reap your reward. All the violence, all the rape, rob, and pillaging, all the destruction. You've destroyed creation, okay? You've oppressed the entire earth, okay? And Yahweh Shai Hamashiach gonna hold you accountable. But chiefly, you finna be held accountable for what you did to your brother Jacob, okay? And that's why you fatigued. You know you're at the end of your empire. You know this is your last hurrah. You know the jig is up, okay? Even Danny Glover knows you're a goddamn devil. Slakia. Inside joke. Anyway, I don't want to make this long. You know, I went down the rabbit hole of the whole black fatigue shit. I heard both sides of the argument. Again, I thought that was like some black camos, some black Uptowns, Air Force Ones, black tee, black ski mat. I didn't know what the fuck black fatigue was. But now I know. If you don't know, do your own due diligence. I'm going to let the Lord speak. Okay? And that's why they really fatigued. They really fatigued because we bringing out the records on their ass. We going into the good book that they praise themselves. They are a God-fearing nation and God they trust. And now we actually going through the scripts and rightly interpreting and dividing the scriptures. Now they fatigued. Now they being exposed, held accountable. Now they fatigued. Now they tired. Now they don't want to hear about it no more. You okay? Oh, man. That's why we know this devil about to come down with great wrath. Revelation 12:12. Because he know if he had but a short time. So I don't want to make this one long. Let's get it, baby. Again, these precepts are screaming, singing. And this is just a handful. I could be here all day. Because when you read the Bible, the good book, it's primarily about two nations. Okay? The Israelites and the Edomites. And these other heathens, like in the meal, you got the steak and the potatoes. These are the heathens. They're the sides. They're insignificant. Okay? They're a drop in the bucket, as the scriptures say. They're likened unto spittle. This is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's movie. And the main characters are Esau and Jacob. Okay? The protagonist and the antagonist. We are the good guys. They are the bad guys. And their works precede them. Okay? Their track record, their MO, their modus operandi. It's obvious to see who's the righteous and who's the wicked. When you actually read the Bible read it for understanding, you know, and you use critical thinking, you use your goddamn brain, and then you link it up with history, you can see who's who. It's obvious. The evidence is overwhelming. We are the Israelites. We are the apple of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's eye. We are his peculiar treasure. Jacob, the lot of his inheritance. Okay? And we would be in captivity in these latter times. That was the punishment. We were given into the hands of our enemy. Primarily our chief enemy, our chief adversary, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Okay? It's obvious what time we in. So anyway, let's get it. Zechariah 11:5. And that's why, hey, slack it, brother. Again, you got to keep doing these lessons, man. That's what's breaking this kingdom down, bringing out this word and rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay? Esau knows you got a lot of lies out there, a lot of bullshit, a lot of leaven, but Esau knows the truth. And he watches these videos, these different, they watch, man. And he's not stupid. He looked things up. You know, he's in the bushes. Esau's the chief bushman. Okay, and they know. They search the scriptures. And they have no answers. As the scriptures, Yahushua said he would give us a mouth that our adversaries could not gainsay nor resist. That's why he's fatigued. He don't know what to do. That's why he just going to resort back to his blessing, the sword, and take his anger out. He going to let that hate out of his heart. Like that skit with Dave Chappelle, the haters ball. Hate, hate, hate. Yeah, let that hate out your heart, man. Because as soon as you bust a move, that's your ass. Your ass is grass. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai going to lift up that standard. And you know it. That's why you're fatigued. You're in a pickle. You're in a quagmire. You don't know what to do. Zechariah 11:5. Meanwhile, the house of David is waxing stronger and stronger as each day passes. Zechariah 11:5. Matter of fact, start at 4. Zechariah 11:4. I'm going to just run through these, man. They break themselves down. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, my power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, feed the flock of the slaughter, this is the main point, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. That basically, in a nutshell, describes Esau's perspective of black. That sums up Esau's perspective of black fatigue. Okay, you oppressed us. You brought us over here in chains. You put us in bondage to this very day. You set up a system to keep us down, to beat us down. You put all type of derogatory names on us. You forced us into the ghettos, the slums, the barrios, the traps. Okay, you took our children from us. You took our women. You forced the man out of the house. You fed us lies. Okay, you called it your manifest destiny. You said it was the Monroe Doctrine. You said it was, you thought Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai was with you. Okay, to this very day, you still oppressing us. Okay, but you lack accountability. You can't handle the truth. Okay, so it says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them. We are still in your hands. We're going to be, when Yahweh Shai HaMashiach returns, guess what? We still going to be found in your hands because you refuse to let us go. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they say, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Again, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. This is Obadiah 1:10, straight to the point. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. That's why Esau's fatigued. The truth, he knows the truth. He knows the truth. Okay? And he knows there's not a goddamn thing he can do about it. Just as it tells you in Hebrews, there was no place of repentance found for him, though he sought it carefully with tears. It's nothing. Esau, Edom, is the only nation that's not promised mercy. Why? For what you did to your brother to this very day. And the Creator and his only begotten Son is coming back to hold you accountable, because nobody else will. Okay? But Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai will. That's why you're fatigued. And you really gonna be fatigued in that day. This is Amos 1:11. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Why? Because he did pursue his brother with the sword. Christopher Columbus, in his memoirs, it was documented that he couldn't put his sword down for 1 hour. Okay, he was doing a whole lot of killing. These conquistadors, these Spaniards, all of them. these colonizers, these colonialists, they was having a good old time. Okay? You know? Buck breaking Jake, using our children as gator bait. You know? You know? Oh, that they were wise to consider their latter end. You didn't consider your latter end. Now you got to pay the tab. So it says, thus saith the Lord, now you're fatigued. Now you can't handle it. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity. He lacks empathy to this very day, no remorse. And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. And that's what 2/3 of you Jakes that are trying to defend this devil, that are joined hand in hand with him, you're going to realize that he's not your friend. He never has been. He's your enemy. He's your chief adversary to this day. Lamentations is one of my favorite scriptures. I'm going to jump around. Lamentations 4, and the main point is in 21 and 22. Again, these scriptures break themselves down, man. Just run through them. I ain't trying to make this too long. Lamentations 4 and 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near, our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. That's a blues clue, as I like to say, of who this is talking about. It says, our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. Let me see. I jump down to 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. Uz is synonymous for America. Okay? Uz is talking about America. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. The cup of what? Slavery, these curses. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter. And stop complaining. Get out of that woe is me spirit. Live up the last seconds of your life. Enjoy the last moments of your kingdom. Okay? Because you ain't got that much time left. The joy of the hypocrite is for the moment. For a short time. Tick-tock, sleazy E. Tick-tock. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. It's 22, the good news, the gospel. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. You tribes, this the good news. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. This is our last bid. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. That's why they fatigued. They know the truth. He will discover thy sins, and he gonna recompense you. That's why you're fatigued. You fatigued. Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children. Because they like to say, oh, it wasn't us, it was our forefathers. Yeah. Whatever. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Because you are your fathers. Reincarnation is biblical. You come back in the 3rd or 4th generation. Okay? So you are your forefathers. Coming back doing the same thing you did in the past. Coming back in your lot. So it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the faces of the world with cities. Okay? Again, Esau knows this book condemns him. He knows his judgment. That's why he gonna demonize this truth. He gonna demonize the men of the Lord. He gonna institute the famine of the word. He gonna lock this thing down, lock the internet down. He gonna put pure hell upon you Jakes, because he's cornered. It's Job 27 and 14. If his children be multiplied, you goddamn devils, which they barely being multiplied. You can barely breed. You know, if you do have children, it's mostly female, women, daughters. And we know your daughters are chocoholics. They addicted to that chocolate. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword. I just read it. Prepare slaughter for his children. If he knows, man, he knows he's through. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Beautiful times, man. Beautiful times. This is Ecclesiasticus. Again, I'm just running through them. Ecclesiasticus 41 and 5. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. The children will complain of ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake. Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High Yahweh. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction. They shall build, but I shall throw down. This your last hurrah, and you know it. Again, you really going to be fatigued when Yahushua returns. Hey, that's 2 Ezra 13. They were scared, but durst fight. Nahum 1 and 3. The Lord Yahweh is slow to anger, and great in power, and he will not at all acquit the wicked. You ain't getting a pass. You ain't getting away. We had to pay, so guess what? You gonna pay. And that's your worst nightmare. That's why you're fatigued. You don't know what to do. The Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power. And you're going to see that power. He's coming in his full strength. And he's coming to take vengeance upon the wicked, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. 2 more and I'll close out. Jeremiah, let me see if I want some more. That's the point, I think. You can keep reading verse 13, but Basra is also synonymous for America. America's all throughout the scriptures, but it's codified. The whole chapter is good, but like I said, straight to the point. As you can see, the content is talking about Esau. Okay, verse 10, but I have made Esau, matter of fact, I started at 10. Jeremiah 49 and 10. But I have made Esau bare. He's exposed. You know, the scriptures say uncover the lock, uncover the thigh, so on and so forth. You're exposed. Shameful spewing is on your glory. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. You ain't got nowhere to hide yourself. You can't. He's been hiding. This man is a fugitive and a vagabond fleeing from justice. Going back to Cain, he put a covering cast over the people. He's been trying to hide, stealing people identities. Goddamn culture vulture. Stole our identity. Trying to rewrite history, whitewash history. You've been running from your crimes, man, for the ages. Okay, now you're exposed. Okay, now the truth is out. And the truth has set us free and condemned you. And you know it. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. This is the main point. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, look, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup, you tribes, right? We drank that cup, these curses, primarily slavery. That's why we went into it. That's why we were brought into the Americas on cargo slave ships. Went through the most heinous captivity ever. The greatest atrocity is what happened to you tribes. What does it say under heaven? I can't remember. I can't quite place it, but roughly paraphrasing, there has no wickedness, no under what happened to us can't be compared, man. Under heaven, what happened to the tribes, man? The so-called Holocaust pales into comparison The real Holocaust is what happened to you tribes. Okay? That's the real Holocaust. Okay? You see? So it says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. This is the main point. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. That's the point. That's the point. You're going to drink this cup, and you know it. You know that's your worst nightmare. That Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is coming to hold you accountable for what you did to the earth, how you've gathered your wealth, and primarily what you did to the tribes for the controversy of Zion. That's your worst nightmare. That's why you're fatigued, because this book condemns you. I'm going to close out here. This is Psalms 50 and 50, start at 16. But unto the wicked, and if you don't know who the wicked are, go read Malachi chapter 1 and 4. These nations, they're wicked. These other heathens, they're wicked as hell. 2/3 of Israel, they're wicked as hell. But the chief wicked nation, the wicked, ain't nobody wickeder than these Edomites. Okay? They're the border of wickedness. Again, read Malachi 1 and 4. And their works precede them. Their track record, their modus operandi. Okay? The receipts are sky high on your wickedness. Primarily your wickedness against the tribes. Your wickedness against the Creator. Okay? You blaspheme the Holy Scriptures, man. But unto the wicked, Job 9 and 24. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Again, you say you're a God-fearing nation. You swear up and down in God you trust. You put it on the back of your license plates. You put it on the back of your money. You say you are the people in the so-called Holy Land. Okay? You know? You running up and down saying you the Lord's chosen people. That's your land. You waging war over that land. That's not yours. You know? But yet, every year you have the biggest alphabet parade in the so-called Holy Land. But you the people over there in Stink City, Tel Aviv. But you the people, right? You a bunch of goddamn hypocrites. Goddamn devils, deceivers. But unto the wicked Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest, and you don't want to hear, you fatigued from the prophets. The Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We've entered into other men's labor. You know? Okay? Starting from Abba on down. All the men that been out there sighing and crying for all the abominations done therein, shaking the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. The word of the Lord doesn't go out void. It shall accomplish that which he pleaseth. This, our cries, our supplications, they haven't fallen upon deaf ears. Now they fatigued. It's gotten all the way to their leaders. Now you want to kick IUIC out of France, so on and so forth. You ain't seen nothing yet. This place is through. This devil is through, and he knows it. He about to come down with great wrath. But unto the wicked Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentedest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother Jacob. Okay? Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. The accuser of thy brethren is cast down. These things, this is the main point, these things hast thou done, you goddamn Edomites, sleazy E, the red Hebrew Edomite. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. Yeah, you thought Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai was with you, but you were sadly mistaken. Okay? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh, the judgment is so harsh, so heavy upon you devils. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai had to let that tab pile up. Now the tab is due, and you don't want to pay it. But you gonna pay it. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest I was altogether such as one as thyself. You thought it was your manifest destiny. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. That's what's going on. A remnant of Yasharallah is turning back to their power and repenting, repentful, have a broken and contrite spirit. Now we're rehearsing a righteous act. We're seeking after the Lord. We're trying to be obedient to the best of our ability. Okay? We're offending as least as possible. We're pleading unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to deliver us, have mercy upon us. Okay? You know? We're in them highways and the byways as we're commanded. We're doing these video epistles. We're bringing out this word. And it's condemning you. Okay? We're going through that spiritual fire, that refining process. We're trotting along the straight gate, and now we head into the kingdom, baby. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's rebuilding the tabernacle of David, that of old that is fallen, and closing up the breaches thereof. Now consider this, ye that forget Yahweh, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Okay? Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, because all the power, all the exaltation, all the honor, all the glory goes to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We're lowly servants, man. Lowly fishers. Okay? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai gonna get his fame and gonna get his respect. You know? And we're joint heirs with Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. We gonna get fame too. And all the lands were put to shame. But Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, they gotta get theirs first. Okay? Our glory is not of ourselves. Our glory is of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. So it says, whoso offereth praise glorifieth me. And to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of Yahweh. And conversation goes into your conduct. You should be conducting yourself as a man of the Lord, as a hopeful elect to the best of your ability. Doing the things pleasing unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Anyway, with that being said, Adawan Ratazadis was edifying, exhorting, and comforting to the elect. We in beautiful times, as I keep saying. Beautiful times for the hopeful elect. Horrific times for the rest of you. Chiefly, you goddamn Idumeans. Shalom. Wa, Abad, Babal, Kwam Nasharallah.